How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about everything double Game Week 19 in the Game Week 19 preview. We're going to be finalizing with the big decision of who to captain going into double Game Week 19, also bringing you some updates of potential fixture postponements that mean that some teams don't even have a double anymore, and we're also going to be touching on the fact, should you be taking Mo Salah out and should you be keeping him in? So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the watch list this week, I wanted to tell you guys that I am recording this video on Wednesday evening, just before the Manchester City game. So my eyes on the watch list this week are going to be on the Manchester City players. The reason being, they have a lovely double game week coming up, and I need to bring some of these players in. So I'm going to be analyzing the performances of Cancelo, Diaz, and De Bruyne. I want to also talk about some of the talking points going into this game week for these players. First of all, with Cancelo. So a lot of people are actually thinking that Cancelo might be rotated. You're watching this video after the Man City game, so obviously you know if he started or not. I actually think it's better for double Game Week 19 if he doesn't start tonight. The reason, my thinking behind that, is that Pep Guardiola said in that FA Cup fixture against Birmingham, he took him off at the 45-minute mark because he was looking a little bit tired. So if he got his rest in blank Game Week 18, then he's going to be perfectly fine for double Game Week 19, and I almost think he's guaranteed to start both the games. If he starts in Game Week 18, it's another story. I don't think he's going to be starting both games in the double, but with Cancelo, maybe one game is even good enough. But then that's where we come on to Diaz. So Diaz is the set and forget Man City defender. If Cancelo goes and starts yesterday night, then I'll probably be looking at Diaz rather, because I think that he's a more consistent option in that starting 11 that's probably going to play both of the Man City games, and that's what you want. You want a player that's almost secure to play both fixtures, because that's the way to get the most points out of the double. Then finally, Kevin De Bruyne, no introduction there, should be starting both games and definitely a good captaincy option. I'm just going to monitor how he plays, maybe in the formation that Pep Guardiola sets up, and I'm just kind of hoping he plays in a more attacking position, because that'll lead me to definitely look at him for the captaincy option going into double Game Week 19. But unfortunately, not much for the watch list. I just wanted to give you guys my updated thoughts. You can kind of take the information that you saw in yesterday's game for Man City and then just relate that to what I spoke about, and then you can draw your own conclusions. So as I mentioned, there has been a rumor of some postponed fixtures which will result in some teams not having a double game week. So that's going to be Leeds, Southampton, and Villa. So I'll talk about Villa first, because they're the kind of simplest scenario. So Villa versus Everton, as you know, there's been an outbreak at the Villa training ground. They've been closing the training ground for the past couple days, I do believe, and they are looking to postpone that fixture against Everton on the weekend. So that will result in Villa not having a double game week, and might even result in not having any single game in double game week 19. So I would kind of recommend, if you do have a Villa player, maybe just keep them until news is confirmed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be bringing any Villa players in, because right now we can basically assume that it's going to be a single game week. Then getting on to the more tricky scenario, it's Leeds and Southampton. So why this game is going to be postponed, and the reason you're probably asking why you're talking about Shrewsbury news in an FPL video, but Shrewsbury and Southampton have to play each other in the FA Cup, and I think next weekend is the next FA Cup round, so this game has to be played before that. So what the current plan was to do is play it of the midweek of next week, so that would result in the Leeds versus Southampton game being cancelled, and result in Leeds and Southampton not even having a double game week anymore. For my own FPL team, that's going to be an absolute disaster, because I have 3 Leeds players, 2 Southampton players. I've been prepping for this double Game Week 19 with my bench boost for a long time, so if Leeds and Southampton don't have a double, I might have to consider my whole chip strategy. The news has come out that Shrewsbury should be training on Friday. I don't think they're going to be playing their fixture on Saturday or Sunday, but that looks keen for that FA Cup fixture next midweek. So it's looking quite certain that that Leeds versus Southampton game will be postponed, but I am still waiting for some more confirmed news. I wanted to give you guys a reminder of this to keep you updated, because there's a lot of fixture postponements happening right now, and we got to kind of lead our transfers and our plans for as late as possible, as close to the deadline as possible, so that we can get the most news in. So go on to the next main talking point. We're going to be talking about, should you sell Salah? I know we kind of rotate this news every single couple game weeks. He seems to go on a lot of streaks, and then everyone wants to have him and labeling him as essential, and then he goes off form for a little bit, and now suddenly people want to take him out. So the main scenario where I would consider maybe not going with Salah is if you are looking at a free hit or you are looking at a wild card. The reason that is that I think there's a lot better options right now on a free transfer that you could get. I'm thinking of De Bruyne, Fernandes, Vardy. All 3 of those players have lovely doubles coming up. The thing I wouldn't do with Salah is take him out for a hit, and I also wouldn't probably take him out if you're just using free transfers going into double Game Week 19. I can't bring myself to take out Mo Salah before a double double. That just seems like it's going to turn into an absolute disaster. So I personally will be keeping him just because I'm a little bit scared of what's going to happen if I take him out. But if you do look at the fixtures in double game week 19, they play Man United and they play Burnley. These fixtures are both at home, which I think is a big plus for Liverpool because at Anfield, they have this massive unbeaten run. So they do look like they're a lot better at home than away. But the current form that Liverpool are showing is being quite dreadful. I mean, Southampton, Newcastle, West Brom, all three of those results didn't go to plan. And against Manchester United, a team that's flying high, I think it's going to be a tough game. And then, I mean, they go to Burnley at home. And that's the thing with Liverpool is they've been really bad against the low block. And that's exactly what Burnley are going to do. Newcastle, West Brom had similar kind of strategies. And I mean, Burnley are going to do the exact same thing. So can we really trust Mo Salah in home fixtures against Man United and Burnley? I definitely don't think I'll be looking at him for a captaincy option. But I think that I will still be keeping him. But if you do want to take him out, I can perfectly understand him, especially because if you're wildcarding game week 20, they face Spurs. That's quite a tough game. West Ham have been looking quite good. Then maybe you can bring him in after that. But oh wait, he's got Man City and Leicester. So tough fixtures coming up for Liverpool. The only thing that I would kind of recommend keeping him is if I knew that Liverpool would bounce back from this, and I just can't really give you that opinion. So if you are on a free hit or a wild card, maybe look at it. But if you are going to use free transfers or hits, I would probably just keep him in my side. So now going to some budget options because we've spoken about these premium options like Salah, Fernandes, De Bruyne, Vardy. What are some budget options that also have a double game week that are quite cheap? Unfortunately, there's not too many of them, to be honest. I mean, Fulham plays Spurs, face Chelsea. I mean, that could be considered a single game week. I mean, I own Johnston from West Bromwich Albion. They face Wolves and West Ham, and honestly, I'm scared of bench boosting him because he could even get a double negative score. I mean, imagine a -2 on a bench boost. That's going to be absolutely terrible. And with the way West Bromwich Albion have been defending recently, I think that Wolves and West Ham game are going to be quite tough. So the team that I would focus on from a budget aspect is going to be West Ham. I mean, just look at those fixtures. Burnley, West Bromwich Albion, both home fixtures. A team that has been playing quite well. Unfortunately, with Balbuena, if you guys did have him from your wildcard in game week 16, he seems to have lost his place in that starting lineup. So there goes a nice budget option that we were considering. But they still have some good options. Sufal, I mean, is about 4.8 million. That still is quite affordable. Fabianski at 5.1. If you want a defender, that could also be it. And they also have some other defenders around that price mark that could provide good value. Then you could go for Souček in midfield. I think he's about 5.3. He's providing absolutely insane value. And against Burnley and West Bromwich Albion, I think they are going to have to rely on some heading threat, and that's exactly what he brings to your lineup. Burnley, they face West Ham and they face Liverpool. I don't know if I'd be looking for them. They do have the occasional clean sheet. Maybe if you're hoping that West Brom and Burnley is going to be a 0-0, and then anything against Liverpool is a plus, that could also be a consideration. I mean, Luton at 4.4, not too much risk there, but I definitely think I would be avoiding Fulham and West Bromwich Albion just because of those fixtures and their form. So finally, on to the main talking point, and probably why you guys are all here, is who should you be captaining in double game week 19? This could even mean a triple captain for those of you who are looking at the chip. So if you are using the triple captain, you almost have to be a little bit more in depth in it. And the one thing I would consider if you are using the triple captain is just the differential aspect. I think a lot of people this week are going to be captaining Salah, Fernandes, and De Bruyne. So you might actually be lucky there, and there might be an even split. But I definitely think De Bruyne is probably going to be the main captained option. So you might want to look at someone else if you want to get that differential aspect. But if you're just on your normal captaincy, Salah, Fernandes, De Bruyne, who are we going to compare? So first off, we're going to go Fernandes and Salah, and I'm going to be talking about my opinions on these two players. And then after this, we're going to be comparing Fernandes and De Bruyne and seeing my final conclusion. So Salah, Fernandes, both great options. I've gone for the stats here. You can have Salah in blue and Fernandes in red. And when I look at the fixtures, that Fulham fixture stands out for me the most. So United, Liverpool, that game could go either way. I mean, both sides could end up with a result there, so that's kind of hard to predict. But then United go and face Fulham, whereas Burnley travel to Anfield, and I definitely think that Fulham fixture is better than the Burnley one. So I think on the stats here, you can see that Fernandes is also leading in some areas. I think that Salah is only leading in shots in the box and touches in the box, but Fernandes is more of a provider. So that's why Fernandes edges it for me in the battle of the red teams. So I would pick Fernandes over Salah. But now going into Fernandes versus De Bruyne, this is kind of the debate that I would be going into. I'm not really looking at Mo Salah too much. That could come down to my own demise there because I'm not giving the Egyptian a shout. But Fernandes and De Bruyne is going to be my kind of decision, and this is what I'm kind of nailing it down to. So on the stats side of things, we can definitely see that De Bruyne's are more of a provider. Big chances created is absolutely sensational, and relatively similar stats in the shots on target, etc. I just think that those fixtures for Man City are just so much better. Crystal Palace at home, Aston Villa at home. I'm expecting results for Man City in both of those games, whereas with the Liverpool game, that could be quite touch option, go for United. Man City definitely are going to be dominant in both of those. So my personal favorite captain this week would be Kevin De Bruyne. I think I would still put my triple captain on him, even though he might not be the most differential captain. And our decision is going to be made a whole lot easier if he actually puts in a good shift against Brighton. So you guys would have known what happened against Brighton. Maybe he didn't do anything and he blanked. Touch wood that he doesn't, because he's my captain and blank game week 18. But if he has a good game week in game week 18, I definitely think a lot of people will be looking at him to return the captaincy on him for double game week 19. So this is basically a wrap the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you didn't, and subscribe if you're new, have not subscribed yet. I'll be checking you guys for more videos coming up tomorrow, especially the team selection. Otherwise, maybe in a deadline with Dayvy stream before that double game week 19 deadline. I'm going to be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.